done? Okay, that's done. And we're going to go Facebook Live in a minute as well, Paul. So hope you're ready.
I'm always ready.
Well, we're getting the replies coming in now. We'll review them later. And then we're going to ask some other questions at the end, because for those of you that may or may not be aware, we're going to be running a second webinar to hopefully clarify the questions or the queries that a lot of you have. So far, Paul, we've got around 70 people that have registered for the webinar, at least 75. And then, well, we're going to go Facebook Live now. So just bear with me. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Is there another screen?
And then, well, we're going to go Facebook.
Oh, yes, I can see your Facebook screen now.
Cool. Okay, great. So what I suggest we do, Paul, now is we'll just, I'll just close the screen, and you can then, so today, for those that may or may not know, Paul Boross, who is a very good friend of mine, who looks like he's frozen right now in that screen. No, he's not, he's there, okay. Paul Boross is a very good friend.
No, I can move.
You can hear us okay, yeah? Well, basically, Paul has been in this business for a long, long time, but I'm going to let him explain that. But what I will tell you, and some of you may not know, is that Paul is a trainer, is an NLP trainer. He's obviously understood from a long time ago how important NLP is and how much it can help and support you, not only personally, but also professionally, especially in Paul's speciality, which is obviously communication and language and presentation skills. So, Paul, do you mind giving us a brief intro about yourself and what is it you do for a living and why you are the pitch doctor?
Well, it's lovely to be here, Bernardo, and lovely to see you again. Essentially, I've got a background in traditional psychology, but then after studying that, I went into show business, and I was in a band that called Morris Minor and the Majors that had a couple of big hits in different countries. And then I used to do a double act with a very famous chef called Ainsley Harriott, and the act was called the Calypso Twins. And after that, I actually met somebody who was very famous and who asked me to help them to actually get over stage fright, because suddenly this stage fright had overtaken everything they do. And to be honest, they had only 1 week to get over it because they had a big live television performance to do. And at that time, which is going back about 23, 24 years, I didn't have the tools with traditional psychology to actually get them through that. So I went and I found out about ways in which you could do quick therapy. And one of the main ways and one of the most efficient and good ways to do it was NLP. So basically, I learned everything I could about NLP and ended up training doctors for 2.5 years in Guy's Hospital, King's Hospital, and St. Thomas's Hospital. And as a result of that, I got a television program with the BBC, a television series called Speed Up, Slow Down. And then I started doing a lot of corporate training. But what I really did was use the skills I'd learned on stage and on television and show business and the skills I learned from NLP and psychology and mesh the two to become the pitch doctor. And I specialize in helping people and companies to improve their communication by actually changing their perception of how they perceive themselves and how they are perceived by others.
Thank you so much. I didn't introduce myself. I'm assuming everyone knows who I am, and why should everyone assume who I am? Anyway, I'm Bernardo Moya. I'm the CEO of NLPLife Training, and I've been Dr. Richard Van Las and Paul McKenna's promoters for the last 10 years, and my company is NLPLife Training. Additionally to that, I've got another company called The Best You. But anyway, these series of webinars, we do these because we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and we have all sorts of great opportunities with webinars, live interviews, and also great discounts and promotions going on with all the seminars. So as I say, in every webinar that I run. If you're interested in training NLP, this is the year. If you're interested in improving your skills, this is the time. So quickly, Paul, we're going to run through the 10 top tips that you normally give to people when it comes down to presentation skills or public speaking. Let's start.
Well, tip number 1, Bernardo. Now, this is going to sound strange, and I realize this, but it's enjoy being nervous. Because actually, when you're nervous, it means that you're connected to what's really going on. So just notice that if the audience are physically there, it means they're ready to listen to you. And I know that's an odd one to start with, but actually, I say to people, enjoy being nervous and look forward to things going wrong, because that's when you have the most fun. Number 2 is shift the balance. Shift the balance in your head. A presentation isn't really an opportunity to impress someone important, because no one is more important than anyone else. It's an opportunity to form a balanced, equal, and fair exchange with you and the audience. Now, that audience could be one person or it could be 10,000 people, but that's all it is. You're not there to impress. You're there to engage and get a balanced and equal, fair exchange. Number 3, focus on the right goal. Instead of focusing on success, whatever that is, which is out of your control, focus on a goal you can directly influence. For instance, focus on get my message across and check that my audience understands it. One of the things that people often do is they just talk at an audience. And obviously in a webinar, this is a slightly surreal experience, because we are going to get feedback from you when you are answering the questions. But if you're meeting somebody one-to-one, ask questions of the audience. In my training, and I know when you're training and speaking, Bernardo, you pause, you listen to the audience, because we need to check that they understand what we're saying. It's not good enough just to say it and assume that they've got it. Number 4, start before you start. An odd phrase, but hopefully one that'll stick in your head. Start before you start. In your communication before the event, in the way you walk into a room. Because remember, it only takes between 2 and 3 seconds for somebody to interpret what they think of you. So actually, they've probably drawn a conclusion about you before you've even reached the middle of the stage. So it's about making sure that you're congruent and in every way, the way you get onto the stage. Number 5, understand why you are there. It's not to convince the audience. They already chose to be there. Choose one of your main points that you're trying to get across and build on that to show them just that they've made the right decision to be there. Number 6, research. Research, research, research. The internet, and we're on the internet at the moment, is overflowing with information about the companies and the individuals. So you get to know your audience and show them that you're serious about what you're sharing with them. It's funny, I work with huge companies all over the world, and sometimes we'll go and work on specific pitches. And one of the first questions I ask them is, what do you know about the people you're pitching to? And they know hardly anything. And yet they've got this extraordinary tool here in front of them. You can find out something about pretty much anyone on the internet. And what does that show? That shows you care. That shows you're listening. The same way that if you went to an interview at a company, You wouldn't just turn up, and I know some people do, and go, oh, I'm here now. Tell me about your company. What would that be classed as? Downright rude.
Yeah.
So actually, think about the people you're talking to. Number 7, plan to use around half of the time available. Now, this may sound strange from somebody who talks a lot, but if you're actually getting used to talking and you don't actually know how long you should talk for, once you start talking, you should realize that time slows down, and a presentation that's on time or early is far more impressive than one which runs over. So remember that actually brevity is beautiful. Number 8, ask for what you want. Now, as the pitch doctor, you would expect me to talk about this when we're talking about public speaking. But actually, public speaking is about getting a message across. You're not presenting generally to inform or educate. You're presenting to get what you want. Even if that's just the audience's attention, don't be afraid to ask for it. Make sure you ask for what you want. And sometimes that's just attention. So we're getting towards the end of the list now. Number 9. Now this is something that over the years, and I know you do this brilliantly, Bernardo, but over the years, generally when you go and watch a presenter, they will present the whole of their presentation and then go, and now I will take questions. Well, what happens is if you take questions at the end, is you hand over the power to the audience, and they are the ones that actually control the situation. So have your Q&A inside during the presentation, not after the finish, because then you can include some relevant information to summarize and end on your terms, not on the audience's terms. And number 10, my final one, follow up. Can you keep in touch with the audience after the event? Could you share your materials, connect with them, give them useful resources, or even remind them of your 10 top tips? That is really crucial. People tend to think once they've been there, been on the stage, been in the classroom, been in the lecture hall, been to the interview, that they are done. No, follow up, because then people will really remember you. And I could go on, and I could probably give you 125 top tips, but Bernardo has only asked me for 10 at the moment, and we'll take your questions, and we'll come back again and talk some more about specific questions.
Thank you very much, Paul. One of the facts I remember when I interviewed you for the magazine, you were telling me about the fear of public speaking, that it was above dying, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, actually, the number one fear in the world, and this is extraordinary, is the fear of public speaking. And all the things like snakes and spiders and flying are way below. But as you say, what really scares me is that death is number 6. How does that work? And there's a comedian called Jerry Seinfeld, who I used to know in New York and everything, very famous comedian. And he said, that means that the majority of people at a funeral would rather be in the casket than making the eulogy.
Yes.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Thank you so much, Paul. That was very helpful. Ladies and gents, I'm going to launch another poll now, and basically this one is just really to kind of understand what your challenges are, because obviously we all may have different issues and different things that concern us when it comes down to public speaking. So there's a quick poll there if you just can go through it. But the idea of this webinar today is simply for Paul to give you kind of his top tips. To make this webinar even better, we need your interaction. And what we thought we would do is allow you to send us questions, send us which are your top concerns, how you need help, how you would like Paul to help you. And then we're going to be running another webinar on Monday at 5 p.m. So that will be on the 13th at 5 p.m. UK time. We're going to be running another webinar, and we will be clarifying and answering all those questions, the questions you're going to be sending us. And where you send those questions is to info@nlplifetraining.com. I repeat, info@nlplifetraining.com. Now, I know quite a few of you are completing or filling in this poll right now. And some of you are telling us that you're concerned about, well, some of you have more fear of small groups, others of large groups. And some of you, it's simply you don't know what to do with your hands, all sorts of things. We want to hear them all. And then next Monday, we're going to clarify them. We're going to be giving some books away, and we're also going to be giving a free ticket to Paul Boross's workshop, which is next Saturday. Not this Saturday. It's Saturday the 19th, is it, Paul?
18th. Saturday the 18th.
Saturday the 18th of March. We're running a public, we're running a workshop.
We're giving this book away.
That's right. That book could be yours. And we're going to be running a seminar, and we're going to be giving a couple of tickets away to that seminar too. So you should definitely make sure you log in next week. So I think that's pretty much it. Paul, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Well, no, just that if you have anything that you need to talk about, that's why we're here. But remember, on Saturday, the 18th of March, we are going to be taking a big in-depth dive into everybody's fears in the room and making sure that at the end of the day, everybody has confidence to stand in front of any kind of group. And really, the techniques I've been using for the last 25 years will make you be able to actually do a huge leap forward in how well you can speak in public. And remember that if you want to get on in life, public speaking is probably the most essential skill that you can learn.
Absolutely, because it's not only the fact that you're speaking in public to people, it's when you communicate over the phone, when you're simply trying to negotiate your salary increase or getting a new job. We're pitching permanently all the time, and it's not only about standing in front of the general public or 2,000 people. Paul, thank you so much for this evening. Thank you everyone that's attended. Thank you for the Facebook Live, ladies and gents, and we'll see you next Monday. That's Monday the 13th at 5 p.m. UK time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Bernardo.
Good to see you. Thanks very much, Paul. Thank you.